Hi, welcome to Spoiler Lab. A strange old woman was buried alive under a tree for 15 years without food or water, but she still managed to stay alive. Today, we'll go over the plot of the movie Tumbad, which came out in 2018. Vinayak Rao tells his young son Pandurang an old story about the goddess of prosperity, who was a sign of wealth and food that would never run out. The story says that Hastur, the goddess's firstborn son, wanted all the gold and food in the world. The other gods turned against their brother, but Hastur's mother was able to protect her favorite child from their anger by hiding him in her womb and telling everyone not to worship Hastur or even say his name. Since then, thousands of years have passed, but people haven't forgotten about Hastur, which is against what the goddess of prosperity told them to do. One story says that the rogue god's spirit and his wealth are kept somewhere near the village of Tumbad, where people once built a temple to honor him. This made the gods angry, so they cursed the village by making it rain all the time. At the end of the story, Vinayak gives his son a mysterious hint that they shouldn't wake up Hastur and that he will understand everything when he is inside the goddess's womb. In Tumbad, 29 years ago, Vinayak's mother worked in the home of an old baron named Sarkar. The woman did sexual things for him so she could get the one gold coin of the god Hastur that was kept in the mansion. While the baron's illegitimate children, Vinayak and Sadashiv, are at home, they worry about having to feed Sarkar's ancestor, a horrible old woman who is chained up in a separate room. If they don't, she will wake up and something bad will have happened. Since their mother is late, the brothers decide to feed the old woman so she doesn't wake up. Vinayak makes food for the sleeping hag and tells his younger brother to take it to her. All he has to do is put food in her mouth while it's open, and she'll swallow it on her own. Sadashiv walks slowly down the long hallway until he gets to the room where the woman is breathing heavily. He tries to go inside, but his mother stops him. She is angry at how stubborn her kids are. She hits Vinayak and brings the food to the old woman herself. She also cuts the old woman's long claws. Vinayak is sure that the baron won't give his mother the gold coin, so he tells her to stop making a fool of herself. But the woman is sure that she hasn't done enough to deserve the award yet. The old woman's room is filled with coughs and groans all of a sudden. She pleads with them to let her go and offers them treasure in exchange. When Vinayak's mother says a secret phrase, the hag falls asleep right away. At night, Sakar dies and is given a proper burial. The baron's concubine decides to leave Tumbad and go to the city of Pune because she was not able to get the valuable coin. Vinayak doesn't agree with his mother's choice. He wants to look for the treasure, which is said to be hidden somewhere in the mansion. The boy's mother says that Sarkar spent his whole life and all of his money trying to find the treasure, but he never did. The boy then offers to wake up the old hag and ask her about the treasure, but his mother is adamantly against it. Sadashiv falls out of a tree while walking during the day and hits his head hard on a rock. Vinayak calls his mother for help, and she tells him that he needs to feed the old woman that night. She also tells him that if the old woman wakes up, he must say the name Hastur to put her back to sleep. Sadashiv, on the other hand, dies on the way to the doctor. The mother tells the coachman to take the gold coin to Sarkar's house, where she picks it up. In the meantime, Vinayak puts flour on himself and walks into the room with the scary old woman. He shines the flashlight at her, and she jumps back because of how bright it is. The boy sees that her skin is wrinkled and that she has a lot of sharp nails in her jaw. He offers the old woman food in exchange for telling him where the treasure is, but the hungry hag attacks and plans to eat the boy, so the boy has to run away. He tries to make the meal quickly, but he can't remember the name of the god. In the meantime, the old woman finds him and ties him up. The hag drags the boy to her house, where she puts his head between two wooden beams. She pulls a nail out of her mouth and gets ready to hit her victim with it. Vinayak can't think of Hastur's name, so he calls out to him, which puts her to sleep. Vinayak's mother comes home in tears and puts some medicine on her son's wounds. He and Vinayak leave Tumbad the next day for Pune while Sadashiv's body burns on a raft in the water. The boy can't stop thinking about what happened the day before, so he asks his mother to take him back. He says he will tie her up and hurt her until she tells them more about where the treasure is. The mother gets very angry and tells her son that he is just as greedy as his father. In the end, she makes him swear that he will never go back to Tumbad again. After 15 years, Vinayak grows up and turns into a man. After his mother dies, he is desperate to get out of poverty, so he goes back to Tumbad to look for the treasure. During this time, his old house has grown over, so he has to wade through roots and spider webs to get to it. He finds the old woman's chains in the branches and pulls on them. So he notices that a tree is now growing out of her body. The man pulls the nails out of her jaws, which wakes up the old woman. In return for his kindness, the witch tells him her story. The lord's family decided to keep her at the mansion after her husband died because she could go down the well faster than anyone else. She says that the temple's well leads to the goddess's womb, which is where the god lives. Hastar stole the goddess's gold, but he was not able to get her grain. Since he has been hungry for a long time, he wants flour. She tells him that if he touches the treasure of Hastar, he will be cursed, live forever, and turn into a monster like her. In exchange for the information, the old woman wants her body to be set on fire so she can stop feeling hungry and suffering. Vinayak does what he said he would do and gets rid of the old lady. He goes to the well and trains his body to climb up and down the long rope for months. After a while, he goes back to Pune to see his wife, but he is all grown up and dirty. As he walks into his house, he sees that while he was away, the person he loves has started a business selling wheat. He rushes in with a lot of anger, scaring everyone away. Vinayak shoves his wife to the ground and kisses her all over. He tells her he will make her a queen, but in exchange she must grind flour for him without asking why. Vinayak goes to see his friend and opium dealer Raghav after he has cleaned himself up. In thanks for being paid back, he gives him his first gold coin. The trader gives the man 100 rupees for the coin, and then the man gives him more coins. From then on, Vinayak's life began to get better and better. His wife works hard to grind flour, which he takes to Tumbad and then brings down the well. In exchange, he gets gold coins. He gives Raghav the loot in exchange for rupees, making himself more and more wealthy. The merchant asks directly about the rumored treasure in the Tumbad mansion. He also wants to know why Vinayak can only mine a few coins at a time. In response, the man laughs it off and suggests that his friend look for the legendary treasure himself. One day, Vinayak gives the merchant 16 coins, but now he doesn't have enough money to pay the merchant back. Sergeant Cooper, who lives in town, tells Raghav that he is leaving and will no longer be able to trade opium with him. He still has 1 month before he loses all of his money. Vinayak comes back from another trip to Tumbad with a hurt leg. When he gets home, he meets Raghav, who is worried. The peddler brings him a gramophone from overseas and tries to find out how Vinayak hurt his leg, but Vinayak says he just fell. Before he leaves, Raghav suggests that they work together to mine the gold coins and share the risks. But Vinayak doesn't want to tell his friend the secret to his wealth, so he says no. In exchange, he offers to help him out if he needs money. Pandurang is Vinayak and his wife's son. Now, they are one of the wealthiest families in Pune. Rao's home is full of expensive decorations, and he throws expensive parties and drinks expensive alcohol. Raghav's business is also in pretty bad shape, and Sergeant Cooper only gives him 2 days to get the money. Vinayak takes the peddler's bike because he knows the man can't pay him back. Raghav owes his friend 800 rupees, so he decides to pay off his debt by selling him his widowed sister-in-law as a mistress. Vinayak tells his wife that he bought a housekeeper to help her with chores and live in their attic. At night, the young concubine gets Vinayak to come to her place by telling him she can tell him secrets if he pays her. She tells him that Raghav paid her to stay with him for 2 nights so that he wouldn't go to Tumbad. Vinayak, who is angry, goes with his friend to the temple of the god. Raghav looks for the entrance to the treasury all over the mansion, but he never finds it. Then he sees Vinayak lowering himself into the well by climbing down the rope. By evening, he comes back and proudly shows the merchant the gold coins he has mined. Knowing that the merchant is watching, Raghav climbs down the rope to the bottom of the well while he waits for his friend to leave. He doesn't know that there is danger there. Eventually, he gets inside the goddess of prosperity's womb, where everything breathes as one organism. The merchant wants to get the treasure because he thinks it will be worth a lot of money. He sees a pot with a doll made of dough in it in the middle of the womb. As soon as he touches it, Hastar attacks him violently, turning him into a monster and linking him to the walls of the womb. Vinayak goes into the house. He makes Raghav sleep by giving him a sad look. Then he throws flour around himself and starts calling on the god with the doll. The hungry Hastar runs to where the call is coming from, but he can't get past the barrier to get the treat. In a fit of anger, he rips Raghav's arm off, and when Raghav wakes up, he is in terrible pain and screams. Vinayak throws the flour doll into the corner to get the god's attention. While Hastar's attention is on the food, the man runs his finger along the god's gold-filled waistband. He quickly picks up the coins that have fallen and gets ready to run away, but then he hears Raghav's cries for help. He feels sorry for his friend and burns him alive to stop him from going through more pain. When Vinayak gets home, he sees his wife and his young mistress having a fight. The woman accuses her rival of stealing a brooch and kicks her out of the house. The jealousy of the man's wife just makes him laugh. India has been on its own for 14 years and is now a free country. Vinayak has been stealing coins the same way for a long time, but as time goes on, he realizes that he no longer has the strength or health to do it. He gets his oldest son, Pandurang, ready to take over as king by making him train hard. Even though his foot is broken, the boy keeps climbing the rope and picking up gold coins from the floor. Every day, he adds up the results, but the process is still taking him too much time. Vinayak still visits his mistress in public, and she is upset that he no longer brings her gold coins. She tells her lover that he should give things to her son as soon as possible, but he still doesn't like him. At dinner, Pandurang brags about how well he did in training and says that it took him 19 tries to get 8 coins. Vinayak doesn't care about his son and doesn't talk to him. Later, he decides to take Pandurang to Tumbad to show him how to get the treasure. The boy's mother gives him a pot of flour and tells him to tell her how his father is mining for gold when he gets back. On the way to the mansion, Vinayak asks his son if he would like to have eternal life and treasure, so that he would only have to eat and sleep for the rest of his life. The boy responds with excitement that everyone would wish for such a thing to happen. Vinayak says with a laugh that this kind of life is not a blessing at all, but a curse that is worse than death. When they get there, the father and son make a flower doll before going inside. When Pandurang is done, Vinayak throws away the doll and tells him not to bring it with them because it was just a training exercise. Once the man is inside the goddess's womb, he tells his son what to do when Hastar comes. He says that the god is afraid of the circle of flower because he knows that if he touches it, he will die. The boy is shocked to see Raghav's body in the wall and finds out what happened to him. Even though his father told him not to, Pandurang sneaks a puppet with him. This gets Hastar's attention right away, and he attacks them without warning. They barely make it back to safety without dying. The boy shows his father the gold coins he stole from the god with great joy. But the father doesn't like how careless his son is and makes fun of him because Hastar almost touched them. Later, he feels sorry for Pandurang and tells him to keep his first gold coin. The boy's mother wants to know what he was doing in Tumbad. But Pandurang keeps hiding the truth about his father, which makes his worried mother sad. In the evening, Vinayak meets with the town's leaders to give them money to help the town grow. He finds out from them that the Indian government bought the big house in Tumbad. Vinayak has no right to the estate, even though his ancestors worked for the baron's family for many years. Pandurang goes to his father's mistress at night and smiles as he shows her the gold coin. He tells her that he is now working with Vinayak and will soon be the only treasure hunter. Rao Jr. wants to marry the girl someday, but he knows that her love will cost him. When Vinayak hears about the mansion, his health gets worse. He tells Pandurang his secret and shows him the chest full of gold and money he has saved up over the years. The surprised boy says that they have enough supplies to last a lifetime. Vinayak thinks about how his mother died in poverty even though she thought she only needed 1 gold coin. Vinayak wakes up in his mistress' bed in the morning and sees that she is holding a gold coin. He gets very angry and beats his son because he used someone else's money. During the fight, Pandurang tells his father that he has been doing everything wrong and offers to steal Hastar's waistband. The boy is talking, so the father stops and listens. To carry out the plan, he suggests making a lot of flower dolls and throwing them at the god as soon as he is done with one. Vinayak sees that his son's idea makes sense, so he agrees to listen to him. While the workers are making the flower, Vinayak gives his son a party where he dances, has fun, and spends rupees left and right. Then, they all go to Tumbad, where they make a lot of dough dolls to keep Hastar busy. They go down into the womb and call out to the god, but they get stuck right away. When the god sees all the dolls, he copies himself into many copies that surround the father and son on all sides. When Pandurang is scared, he throws a few dolls around, and the Hastars rush after them, fighting and killing each other in the process. Even so, the number of clones keeps growing, and Vinayak and his son will become the next victims if they leave the safe circle. The Rao family has to wait for a long time until all of the lights in their lamps go out. When the noise stops, Vinayak lights a match, hoping that the copies of the god have gone away. However, they still stand guard over their prey. The man decides to make a desperate sacrifice, so he ties the rest of the dolls to his body to lure the Hastars. It's the only safe way for his son to get back. Pandurang falls at his father's feet and begs him not to kill himself. Instead, he says, they should find another way out. But the man won't give up. He pushes his son away and crawls up the rope to the hungry gods. When Pandurang lights a match, he sees dozens of clones rush at his father until they hit a magical barrier and fall down. Seeing his chance, the boy quickly climbs up the rope and drops back down to the ground, where he starts crying about his nightmare and his loss. Suddenly, he hears a muffled call and sees his father, or what he has become, near the well. His eyes got pale and his skin got wrinkled and burned. As he moves toward his son like a zombie, he stretches his arm out and grabs Hastar's waistband. Vinayak tells Pandurang to take the gold because that's what he really wanted. The boy starts crying and turns down the gift because he realizes that his greed has made his father into a monster. He throws a lamp at Vinayak out of desperation, and the fire slowly burns the man's body. When Pandurang says Hastar's name, his father falls asleep for good. After that, the boy walks away and never goes back to the cursed mansion. How did you feel about this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you like the video, please like it and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you again soon.